Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new video, and this time I'm going to talk about miniatures that I think they make me to improve. They ask me, sometimes I will talk about armies, sometimes I will talk about miniatures, but I think, yeah, I put here some representative miniatures that they ask me to improve and to keep working and improving my painting. And there is different ways of improving, okay, so I will show you what I mean by that. So I started here. I think this is the first miniature I was really proud to paint. This was my first ever character I painted. Before that I just painted some a squad of Terminators and a squad of Khorne Berserkers, the very old plastic ones. You can see is still in the 25 millimeters base, and I was happy because I thought that the sword was nice, right? I use it a lot, this miniature. I had from time to time to put a little bit of paint because I rub off some paint by using it. It's varnish and it's everything, but yeah, you can see also the paint is not as bright as it can be. But I will say that making characters is one of the things that helps you, is where you pay a little bit more extra attention, and when it makes you to improve. I tried to do, at the end, no, I realized it was a mistake, but I tried to do a color transition by using dry brushing, what was fully a mistake, but I like a lot how the checkered part on the gun muzzle was done. So I was quite happy with the result. I will say this was maybe one of I have painted 20 minutes before this one, so there was not too many techniques at the moment. Okay, so here I tried mainly dry brushing was the main technique, dry brushing and being accurate. You can see the black was not even highlighted. But the next army, or the next ones that forced me to really pay more attention, were the Bretonnian, and this is my first Bretonnian knight. Okay, and why was that? Because I wanted to start practicing. Bretonnia forced me to practice on freehand. Okay, so I before trying to do layering, before trying to do washes, I went to try to practice freehand because I really love Bretonnia, who was looking like, and I wanted to do this awesome barding with freehand. Well, my freehand was improving from time to time, so this was another miniature paint on that period. I was very happy how the Griffon was looking like, so I hope you can see it correctly. But this is a freehand Griffon as well as the back one. So, flawlessly, room for improvement. This was one of my first Grail Knights. But yeah, practicing and practicing, then one of the miniatures I really had to focus on painting. And here I make a jam, okay, but this is one that I was very happy how it was looking like, especially the freehand on the banner. I put this for freehand. Of course, here I did more practice. I did more on the color transition. Here I started using, this is much recent, but you can see that the freehand evolved over time. Let's put this apart. This is just to show how you can evolve. But another miniature that I had to pay a lot of attention was this guy. This is Azarnil, the dragon. And why this was important for me? First, you can see again freehand on the banner. The banner was done is a paper banner painted with brush. So, and the first thing I'm very happy as well was how the drop was looking like there. Okay, I went for simple freehand, simulating runes, this type of symbols there. Okay, not too complicated, but I think looking good. I didn't want to leave, and then I was very happy because this was my first time I was doing something special on the base. This was the time of the green, the goblin green bases. Okay, so I wanted to put him like if he's on top of a river. So the first time I was using styrene foam, and I think it was quite good. I also practiced here. I did a little bit of color transitions, not too much as well. One of the miniatures where I try to work a lot on combining washes and dry brushing to have this effect on the membranes. I was really happy that period of time how the wings were looking like, How I All the Dragon, I think, was one of the miniatures that paid a lot of attention in that period of time and helped me to improve on doing these color transitions and so on. But of course, you can see there is a room for improvement if you compare this to my Starter Wake. Of course, there is the Starter Wake have much more level, but this was painted about more than 20 years ago, I guess. About 20 years ago. So it was when Dogs of War were released. Now we are going to do a jam. So another miniature that I really have here that I want to share with you that also asked me to improve was this conversion I did. Well, not this conversion, or how to adapt this Land Rider for Nurgle. This was one of the first times I was using bits from Forge World. So the front gate, the side gates, the side doors are from Forge World. But I also use a lot of green stuff to make all this type of pustules. First time really making that, because I was thinking, okay, there was very nice pustules done on the doors, but if the rest of the tank did not have these pustules and also on, was looking boring. So I used different, I did small balls of green stuff to make all these pustules, and then I make the big ones. That was really was quite straightforward to do, right? So quite happy how this was looking like. Also was asking me, I was doing a lot of H highlight at that period, so these tanks, I put this as an example, but all these vehicles, I spent hours and hours on all the vehicles I did during this period of time, and I did full army of lemon roses in black doing H highlighting. So these vehicles is really a good way to do all this H highlighting that you can see on the different panels. Here are very discreet, on other tanks I have it more pronounced, but these tanks were a way for me to practice a lot of H highlight that then I reapplied in other miniatures. Very happy. I presented this in a contest and I was second. It was really a very good painted Dreadnought. So, but I was very happy with that. Remember, this is still very old times, very old times. There was, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or even more. Here we go. This was also done a long time ago, before even I moved to Brussels. And this was one of the miniatures that for me I did a step change on painting. This was the first time I was doing layering and a little bit of blending, but it was a lot of layering. Here is where I started developing my technique of blending directly on the miniature and doing layering and not let the previous layer to dry. It took me ages to do all this musculature. I guess it was the first time I was doing that, and it took me really long time to do this when I did it for the first time. On top, then I did H highlight, very discreet. You can see that in the period I was very discreet with the highlights. I was quite soft, but this one I really showing because I spent a lot of time on the body of the Soulbinder. This was painted when the Soulbinder was released. Okay, I don't know when it was. I think 4th edition of when they released the first time. They were releasing a unique codex for the Chaos Demons. I think it's still a great miniature. I like it a lot. I'm very proud. But if I paint a second one, I don't think I will. I hope I will not spend that much time. But at the moment in time, I was very happy how it was looking like, and it was on all my games. After spending so much time on this one, you want to show off. But this is where I start developing my technique that you will see later on, or you see in my videos, that I really use it for a lot of miniatures. Just a fun thing, this guy, Lowen Leoncourt, was done much years later. I spent so much time on that one that I need some time to recover and to really spend that much time on a miniature. But I was very happy, and I still have a very special space in my history. Now I will go for terrain, because also terrain is a great way to learn techniques. So this was one of the first time I was practicing with pigments. I never used pigments before this building. You can see how the whole building looks like. I think there is a video on my channel, one of the first videos I had in the channel, so I guess this will be about 8-9 years ago, something like that. And I was doing all these things with powders. Was the first time using powders, and I was super happy how it was looking like. I really like. Since then I try to repeat this technique on other buildings. Now we have the contest that also can help on that. To be fair, to do this type of dusting, this type of burning marks, the powders, the pigments are working much better than washes from my point of view. Okay, I like a lot for terrain to use pigments of this type. This was a lot of dry brushing. Also was important for me to paint these big things, because it's another way to learn how to do a little bit of a speed painting and painting big buildings. Is painting big terrain, you have to use different techniques than when painting miniatures, and really you want things that they don't take too much time, because you want to have terrain for your battles, okay? But here, yeah, another building, it was a way. Terrain is a excellent way to practice your techniques. You can practice OSL. Here was very poor done. It was the first time I was trying to do OSL. Say, okay, this is good enough for a building. First time using powders, the part that I feel more comfortable. Even here I was trying to do, first time I was doing rust effect. There was, remember that period of time was not existing Razor Rust or any rust type of technical paint. And here we come with a different learning. Okay, I will put you just a regular Plague Moon Skaven. And why I'm showing that? Because when you do this type of armies with a lot of small miniatures, you want to learn techniques for speed painting. So Skaven was an excellent way for me to learn speed painting, how to paint miniatures very, very fast. I used, maybe for some of you it will be slower, but when you practice a lot, washes, a little bit of each highlight, high contrast, and next one. And this is Skaven was especially the last technique I used on Plague Moons. The beginning I was using the all inks, while giving this glossiness that you don't like too much, but with the washes from Games Workshop and so on, you can find techniques. Here, this type of miniatures is where you want to learn how to use contrast, how to use washing techniques, how to do fast dry brushing, how to make techniques that they look good on the table, but you can go fast on painting. But then you have the opposite. Okay, here we have the Harlequins. This was fully the opposite. Here was an army that I wanted to dedicate a lot of time on each one of them. Okay, that case, I want to go for a checkered pattern, and I know that this was going to consume me a lot of time. So I started with very small forces, and I did the army into steps. So first I did almost 1,500 points, very basic, just what I need to play. I did not create additional units, and because after doing that, you have to practice to make a nice yellow, to make a nice checkered pattern or diamond pattern. And here you have, and also on the characters is where you were practicing the most. The thing is the most difficult part on this miniature is to make this thing on the rod, on the staff, that it's really always the same. It's not easy to do this type of helix decoration on the staffs, at least for me. I was very happy. This was the first time I was trying to do a freehand of a demon face, and I was quite happy how this was looking like. Okay, so this is like Zegorah, and I wanted to do this type half with the diamond pattern, and this diamond pattern is special because he is a dark seer, so a shadow seer, sorry. Okay, I know I use a far seer to do this conversion, and showing this in purpose because it's one of the ones that they dedicate a lot of effort to do the freehand on the cape. So for me, between Bretonnia and the Harlequins was the way to practice freehand. Here Bretonnia was practicing symbols. On these guys I was practicing a lot checkered patterns, diamond patterns in general, that are not that easy. Sometimes it's easy to make a long drawing than really make these checkered patterns. And then we go to the last three miniatures. In general, Stormcast Eternals, I started practicing new techniques to do the armors on the Stormcast Eternal. So first, I practice with the Liberator, and here is where I was doing this highly contrasting armor on green. Okay, I paint a lot of Space Marines before this Liberator, but it was when I was doing this army when I really went for this more contrasting way of painting. It's not exactly a non-metallic metal with green, but I try to use the principles of that to create more brights, more contrast, to make a look. Still, I need to learn more, I need to go more contrasting if I want to give this non-metallic metal, but I was very happy how it was looking like. And then as well, this guy, a lot of work on doing this, how to simulate airbrush effects using a normal brush. And this is what, as I didn't have airbrush, this is how I spend the swirling or the vortex. And for me is the most important, maybe the most important part of this miniature. All the time I spend doing this vortex that is all around, and as well the cape. I was super happy how the cape was looking like. Wings as well, so a lot of color. Here I did a lot of color gradients, color blending, and then as well all this type of stars drawn on the vortex. And as well I was very happy with the galaxies I did, or the sky pattern I did in the inside of the cape. The gold, room for improvement, but as well some pieces I try to focus on some parts, and I'm really happy with that one. Another miniature that I spent time and I tried to improve was Boldus. Okay, my Grey Knights are not using silver armor. They are using this type of blue grayish armor, very similar to the Space Wolves. So here what I try to do is I try to exaggerate even more the techniques I used on the Stormcast Eternals, and I was very happy how it was looking like. I try to see, so I try to go more for to simulate the non-metallic metal. In some parts I did quite a happy job. I'm quite happy in some parts. In other parts not that happy. But if I paint in future more Grey Knights, I will try to follow the same type of pattern. Quite happy how it was looking like. It's very time consuming, so I don't recommend to do full army with only non-metallic metal. Go for something simple. This is doable, okay? This concept is doable. This concept for an army, if it's elite, maybe you can do it. If it's a lot, is going to be super time consuming. And now I go the one that I think I really also learned a lot. And I learned starting from the base, because it was the first time I was using snow to do the base. I wanted to simulate or to put him in some Fenrisian type of wall. Okay, here this was one of the miniatures where I focus more on the paint job. Maybe I start using non-metallic metal but with metallic colors, because I'm still not convinced on the non-metallic metal. I like more the metallic colors on natural. So this is why I do that. It has OSL. Had to practice. Very happy how this type of tattoos was looking like. But the thing that I really like a lot is the hair, okay, and the skin. So we can zoom in a little bit, and as well the wings. The wings, I spent a lot of time on them, and I think was worth it. I like a lot this color gradient together with edge highlight, and this is a miniature that really forced me to think how to do wings. I spent some time thinking how I will want to do the wings, what techniques I will use. This is a miniature that I really spent time, even more than the one that came later, that was what's called Mortarion. I think this miniature is more complicated than Mortarion because here you need a cleaner job and it needs more thinking. Again, the hair, I'm very happy how it was looking like. I went for this purplish, pinkish hair. I also had the concept that I don't want the skin to be fully red. I want it to be reddish, but being still not fully natural, but quite okay looking real. And I think at the end I managed to have this type of reddish skin. I think it's matching very well. And then the hand with the eye, I try to simulate here the navigator eye on this hand, right? If he has the navigator powers, and as well then I changed the concept that if this hand is like have a demonite part, and this is why it's in a different color. So here is really a miniature where I studied, I think a lot about the concept, how I want to go. This is why I went for the red fireball, because I think was more contrasting, and then the red fireball was asking me to put red, yellow in other parts. I would say red, but it's more yellow. Yeah, you can see, so the yellow, this is why I wanted the wings to show the symbol. When I saw the sculpt, I saw the symbols there in the wings and say, it's a pity that they don't have more contrast with the background of the feathers. So this is why I decided these symbols have to go in a very contrasting color with the blue, and I went for these yellow-orange colors. Then I said, okay, let's put some yellow-orange somewhere else. This is why it is there on the ball, because I think it also a fireball will do the work. I know that the blue can look more magical, but there is blue everywhere, so I want something to contrast. Also, very happy with the freehand of the Thench symbol there. Okay, I think was okay. Here I did everything. I did all the techniques, and then if we look at the back, I don't know if this is going to be visible. So maybe this one's here. There is, yeah, this is going to be tricky to show because I did a lot of work on something that is not almost visible. So let me see if you can see there in the inside. Okay, this is the back of all the back of his clothes have this type of decoration inside. Yeah, not visible most of the time. A lot of people will not see that, but there is. It was also another thing that I want to practice, to put type of decoration on clothes, and I do it on the inside in purpose. I did not want to overload the miniature with details, and in case I do a mistake, that is not that visible. At the end I was very happy with the result. A little bit disappointed you cannot see that very easily once the miniature is assembled, but okay. So I will see in future if I do it in other miniatures. I did this a little bit on Ahriman later on the cape. The techniques I learned here, I reapplied some of them on the Vermin Lord, and now when I want to paint Be'lakor, of course a lot of the learnings here will be reapplied on Be'lakor. So this maybe, if I have to choose two miniatures where I think I did a step change, if I have to, of all this list, I have to pick two ones. These are the two ones that I will pick. One is Magnus, and the other one is the Soul Grinder. I think these two help me a lot to understand, to work on textures, to see how I can improve doing textures, and I think these are the miniatures that I will consider that are maybe the ones that really I make the biggest step change. But all the ones I share here, different learnings, different approaches, different thinking on the back, and a little bit of evolution of how my paint job have evolved over time. I hope you find this entertaining. I hope you had enjoyed this video, this walk through my painting history, and as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.